So the student went ahead and took the time to practice, as it were, shaping out wire, just simple wire. And that would give him an idea as to what is a more natural shape. And he began to find out that human beings have a tendency to try and make things symmetrical, try and make things even. So we'd want to make it more roundy or more boxy. And so we're really trying to avoid that boxy look. And I think he did good. We start off with that bottom piece that starts off like this. Basically, you get your circle, the part that's going to be at grade level, and then you have the last bend coming on up. And again, this is not an exact formula. This stone was built the same way, but with rebar. Starting off with a single piece, you bend the shape. That's your cutaway view. We talked about this in my little doodle here. So you can have the rock actually coming around and creating a footprint at the base where it would be sunk in the ground were it to go in deeper. And again, you want to cut away a little footing keyway down into the dirt when you're building these rocks on the ground or low levels. They're basically the footprint of your stone or your whole entire waterfall feature. Once that's done, you've created that shape, then you step over and start doing the same thing, but you do it in rebar. So we started off with this one, and you have that basic shape, and you can see how this one was done by another one of the students from a previous class, and now how the curve is. It just has a nice even curve. Well, that's okay, but we want to be careful because it starts to look symmetrical. We want to try and avoid that. This is another one that a student did, and it just shows you a little bit of that, how important it is to practice really and study the real rocks. Notice the angles on the bottom. Again, this is the footprint where you'd have this thing going into the ground were it to be a real rock, three-dimensional rock. But again, we're just creating the upper portion that's exposed above grade. And so you start off with the wire, move over to the rebar, and you end up with your shaping from that steel. Double tie on these spots where it starts to overlap, and over here at the other point. When you're beginning to build your rock, you want to double tie everything just because it's kind of wobbly and wiggly. So then, as I demonstrated, and I used the bender bar, I made this one. And this is the same process. You start off with that singular piece of wire, piece of rebar, wire if you want to practice, and then work your way up to the rebar piece. And you get your bends, and that's the footprint. That's the part that is at grade, right? And so then you can add another stick to it and begin to bring that up and start coming around. And it looks a little more, intricate and detailed, but when you take it step by step, it's pretty darn easy. And the student had no trouble. He completed his rebar shape in, 30, 40 minutes. We had the whole thing done, and we were just taking our time to really focus on how to manipulate the rebar, how to get things to bend without things whacking you in the head or breaking off some of your previous ties. You want to try and get those double ties if you can. That helps up. You go twist, tie, twisty on both sides, and then that helps stabilize that joint there. So this would be what I would call a rebar bubble. This one is still awaiting some additional pieces maybe from that side. Bring it around here. And then you end up with a 8 by 10, 12-inch space between your steel. This other side over here looks good. That's pretty good, that's not bad. And that one needs a tie right there, of course. But you're looking for sort of an even, balanced amount of space between your steel ribs in the stone itself. So we went ahead and we also did the pile technique, where we just piled up dirt and then packed up the concrete over it. This one has just one color of paint on it. I was trying to get through the whole process for my student. So this is just piled concrete on dirt, a dirt pile, with a little bit of cinder block. Some of the cinder block you see over there. Take some of those, break them up, and kind of lay them into the dirt and build them out. They help the concrete stick a little better when you're trying to get it to hold its shape as you're piling it up on this pretty vertical shape, this pretty vertical face, if you will. And so we went ahead and did that in concrete, just bagged concrete, nothing complicated. And then the dirt that I dug out here for the little footing, the keyway, I piled up over on this area. And so the student made this rock all by themselves pretty much. So it's pretty amazing what you can do when you just take it step by step. So this one had both of these stones over here were stamped as far as the texture coat goes. We used the stamping technique. We used the rubber skins, brick form release powders to give it a little bit of color. We threw on the fog coat. That gives it its creamy color. We used a black release agent, dark gray I guess, and this could use a little brushing and stuff to dial it in right now. This rock over here is actually the rebar shape that the student made, just like the one I just showed you. And we just laid it on here, got it off the dirt with some little pieces of concrete. You can use Dobies for that too, so it won't rust out. And so there is air underneath here in this one. This is a rebar bubble basic shape, and so we packed the concrete and structural coat concrete all the way up and around and over it. So it came out pretty killer, and you can see these are pretty good sized stones, you know. So this one we wanted to demonstrate the spray on technique, so we actually sprayed that on with the hopper and a compressor, and that gave it the sort of the spit texture, and then we carved it out and used our little trowel and stuff and a brush. And here's Bernie. Hello, Bernie. Coming to say hi. That's our trusty mascot up here at Alpine Sky Studio. Bernie the golden lab. Yeah, he'll lick you to death after he barks at you. So anyways, just want to give you guys a little example of what we did up here. This is a one-day full training. Chad Wood was the student who came in from out of state. Get a feel for what a real job, an actual job is like. And we were at the rebar stage, the shaping stage, which I think is a huge area that's really hard to understand. You know, how do these rock artisans actually make the rebar shapes? Why do they bend it there and not there? Why does the scale of that stone what it is? Why is it here and here, and why not is it bigger or smaller? Why is it square a little bit, and why not is it more stratified or boxy, or is it roundy, and why did they make them so round and stuff? So finding out how the students, how the actual contractors rather, make artificial rock, I think is one of the harder parts to get your head around. And so being able to come out of here and study that, and especially if it's in a small class or individual, you can really get it nailed. And the student just went all through the whole process in one day. Probably a 2-day would be about the best, because then you can go ahead and not have to try and jam it all in. But we got just about all of it in. We actually were able to demonstrate all the steps, including the first painting, laying on the first paint step with my little pump sprayers and stuff. And that was that rock right down there, the more brownie one, if you can see it in the picture there. So anyway, Mr. Dave up here in Alpine Sky Studio, and we just want to talk about the class that we had yesterday and how the student had gone ahead and went through the whole process in one day. So pretty amazing what you can do with just a little bit of knowledge and some concrete. So anyway, if you want to check that out, just send me a message, and I can line that up for you, and we can schedule it and have you come out. And you could even take your whole company if you have, you know, a bunch of guys. We can get you going and really get you lined up so you can just blow this stuff out. This stuff is amazingly simple to do in terms of the actual steps, but the creativity and the foresight and understanding some of the subtleties of it and some of the key points is really critical. So anyway, Mr. Dave out here. I hope you guys are having a great day. Remember to go to www.davehenderson.podia.com, P-O-D-I-A, davehenderson.podia.com. I got some free downloads there you can grab hold of. My book is there too as well for $25. Maybe it's going to be going up here in a little bit, so might want to grab that if you can. And got one on slides as well, and there's a course there. So keep your eye open. I'm going to probably be putting a course together for this one of these days pretty soon. So anyway, in the meantime, hey man, be thankful, be forgiving. You know, that really makes a life full of goodness and happiness, and it's just a better way to run down this road of life is with that kind of a spirit. So anyways, God bless you guys. Hope you're having a great day, and I look forward to seeing you guys out here on the rock pile or at the studio and getting some training going. That'd be awesome. So we'll see you next time. All right, man, have a great day. God bless you. Bye-bye.